welcome to my channel. My name is Emily. This is my channel, Books for Life. If you like my content and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. So today I'm here to talk about all of the books that I read during April. I am only going to film this in one part this month because I only read 8 books. It's not like terrible, but I did not hit all my goals. This is the first month that I did not meet all of my goals so far this year, so that is a bit disappointing. But it was still a good reading month as I had a lot of books that I really loved. And since I'm not filming this in 2 parts, I want to dive right in. So for my classroom library, I told you I was going to read Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr. And I did read this and I actually really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's definitely kind of tropey and it is older, so that kind of makes sense. Like it follows like some of those common tropes that we had from older YA books. But I was engrossed in the story. I wanted to know more. I really liked like the magical realism aspect of this with like the fairies invading like our world and how most people can't see them, and how they kind of like wreak havoc on humans like behind the sidelines, like you don't even know they're there, but they might have been the ones that tripped you or whatever. Like I thought that was kind of fun. I did enjoy this so much that I bought the other books in the series, so if you didn't know that, that means you haven't watched my haul video, so I will leave that linked above. You should definitely go check that out. But yeah, I thought this was a really fun, cute read. It only took me like a day and a half. It was a really quick read and I liked it. During the month of March, I participated in March Mystery Madness, but also Middle Grade March, and I did not get to The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate, so I read this during the month of April, and I loved this. I gave this 5 stars. It was beautiful. It's about this gorilla who is stuck in captivity in a mall, and he befriends this stray dog and an elephant, and it's their story about living in captivity and trying to find home and a sense of belonging and the idea of like loneliness and friendship, and it was truly heartwarming and it was just a beautiful story. While I was reading those ones, I was listening to Darling Rose Gold. I really enjoyed this. I hadn't watched The Act on Hulu, which is about the girl whose mom was like poisoning her entire life and made her think that she had like all these illnesses wrong with her when she really didn't. And this kind of like takes that story, but it is after the mom has gone to jail, so the daughter doesn't kill her. And I can't think of Gypsy Rose. That's her name. In the actual story, Gypsy Rose ends up killing her mom with help from her online boyfriend, and Gypsy Rose and her boyfriend are currently serving time in jail. So The Act follows, and I don't know exactly how accurately, I think it's a pretty accurate portrayal of Gypsy Rose in her life, whereas Darling Rose Gold kind of takes that idea, but instead of having Gypsy Rose or the daughter kill the mom goes to jail. And so this is after jail. You know, the mother-daughter relationship, what's happening there. In this story, Rose Gold is finally independent for the first time in her life. She's holding a job, she has a baby, and she is like putting her life back together. She has a lot of support from her community because they know like how her mom treated her her entire life actually. And she is, you know, like just enjoying like the freedom that she now has that she's never had before. And her mom is just getting out of jail and she has offered to take her mom in. So it is their story. I loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was done really, really well. If you enjoyed watching The Act or you enjoyed like the story of Gypsy Rose, I would highly recommend this book. Next, I read The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I just got this book in my book haul, which again, if you haven't watched, definitely check that out. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. This is I would say, kind of new adult-ish. It's like a little bit mature, and then it's like kind of not. Like it's definitely mature, don't get me wrong. Like I would not let middle graders read this. But like definitely older YA will be fine. It's not quite like steamy enough to make it adult, but it's not quite like for just like a general YA population. It's like a weird mix. It's like I kind of wish she would have either just like tamed it down so it would be YA friendly, or like pumped it up a little bit so it's an adult book. It's not like a perfect middle grade. It like falls right in between. So I really enjoyed this. I thought the concept of this book was really fun. So you have this girl named Alessandra, and she's decided that she is going to woo the king, marry the king, kill the king, and take his power. And so she has decided to go to the castle, and he invites her to stay, and her plan is set in motion. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun take. I loved the world that Trisha Levenseller was able to build in such a short fantasy book, because this is relatively short. I don't even think it's 400 pages. Yeah, it's only 326 pages. So in that short time, she built like a really great world. And I really wish that this wasn't a standalone. I wish we had more. Even if it wasn't following Alessandra in the sequels, I wish like there would be companion novels in this world, because I thought this was just so well done. Next, I listened to The Queen's Assassin by Melissa de la Cruz. And this is my first novel by her, and I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Again, this was another fantasy world. So you have Shadow, and she's a young girl. She is a teenager, and she has been trained her entire life by the Guild. And the Guild is basically like a group of magic wielders, and some of them are like assassins. And so she's been raised by her 2 aunts, because her mother works in the castle, and her mom doesn't want her to have like a palace life. So she is being raised by her aunts, and she has been trained her entire life with the Guild, and she wants to become one of the deadliest assassins, just like this guy named Calden Holt. So then we have Calden Holt, and his father was a bodyguard to the king and queen, and he went in and he entered into a blood vow with them. And when he died, that blood vow ended up transferring to Calden Holt. So Calden is now like stuck with being the queen's assassin and doing her bidding, because he hasn't met the requirement for this blood vow yet. So their paths end up intertwining. One day Shadow's in the woods, and Calden actually saves her from somebody else, because somebody was about to kill her. And then he gets sent to prison. So she decides she's going to break him out and manipulate him into training her, because she doesn't want the life that is being set before her. Her mom is trying to like make her go to the castle now that she's old enough so she can get married and do all that fun stuff. And Shadow's just like, that's not the life for me. So those two ended up like trying to work together. And I really enjoyed this. I know it's going to be part of a series. I'm here for it. I will definitely read the next one. This kind of makes me want to pick up other books by Melissa de la Cruz. If you have read her and there's one that you love, let me know in the comments down below. Next, I read Crescent City! Oh my god, this was amazing. I love this book. I already know I will be rereading it at some point. I truly, truly loved this book. It was 10 out of 5 stars. Like, I loved it. Sarah J. Maas is definitely my girl. Unfortunately, my cover ripped even more, because if you watch my Bookish Pet Peeves video, you know that I read with the cover on. So check that out if you haven't watched that yet. So this is a brand new world that Sarah J. Maas has created, and it is a world where all like different beings kind of live together. You have angels and vampires and werewolves and humans, fae, like you have all these different beings living together. There's like this city, there's this hierarchy, and you have Bryce, who is half fae, half human, and there is a traumatizing event that ends up setting her off on this path of vengeance. And there's a lot of sexual tension, and this is an amazing world, and it's a mystery, and it's a fantasy, and it was wonderful, and I want more. I loved it. I loved it. This is probably definitely going to be like my #1 read of the year, I'm sure. I don't think anyone's surprised by that, though, if you're familiar with my channel. I loved this book. Okay, 2 more books, and that is it. Unfortunately, I will tell you that I had set on my TBR The Girl in the Tower, and I did not get to it. I am currently reading it. Today I'm filming this, and it is, it's Cinco de Mayo. It's May 5th, and I am on page 298, so I have about 70 pages left to go, and I'm hoping that I will be able to finish it today. So this will be in my May wrap-up, because I have read most of this in May. But I know I am reading it, and I love it. But I did, however, read The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, and this was a book that I had chosen also for middle grade March, and I just bumped this on to April. I hated this book. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. I have a whole review coming to let you know all my thoughts on it, but I really did not enjoy it. I had a lot of problems with it. If you want to know more about why I didn't enjoy this book, check out that review. I'm not sure if it's posted now or if it will be posted in the next video or two, but if it's posted, I'll leave a link up above. But definitely one of my most disappointing books of the year so far. I think actually it could even be the lowest score I've given a book so far this year. Did not enjoy it. So then the last book I read was Lovely War by Julie Berry. Now this is a World War I novel, and what was really fun about this book is that it's actually a story that's narrated by the Greek gods and goddesses that, if you're familiar with Greek mythology, that you know. So Aphrodite is telling us a love story that happened during World War I. So Ares is there and he's also telling the story. Hades shows up because death is obviously involved, and he tells part of the story. And Apollo is there too, and they are telling the story to Hephaestus. And Hephaestus has captured Ares and Aphrodite in the net, which is also from a Greek myth if you're not familiar with the stories, the Hephaestus, because Hephaestus and Aphrodite are married, and Hephaestus captures Ares and Aphrodite having an affair, and he captures them in a net, and like it's a whole thing. And so he does that here. That's how the story starts. It's like the first chapter. He's captured them in a net, and she is going to tell him a love story. It was beautiful. I cried. It was narrated really well. You have multiple narrators for this, and as far as audiobooks go, it was definitely one of the best ones that I've listened to so far this year. I really do enjoy having multiple narrators for a story, and this was just done really well. The story itself was heartbreaking. You have a lot of really great characters that you fall in love with and you're rooting for, and you just hope things are going to work out, but it's a war story. So, you know, it was a truly beautiful historical fiction romance. So if that's your thing, if you enjoy that, then definitely check this out. And actually, I really enjoyed that this was focused on World War I as opposed to World War II, because most of the stories that I do read that are historical fiction typically involve World War II. So I thought this was a nice change from that. So if I didn't say, I gave that one 5 out of 5. So the other goal that I did not meet, I had told you that I was going to read a book box book, and I just did not get around to it. Crescent City is over 800 pages, and it took me a while, and I loved it, so I was like completely okay with that. But it did take me a while, so I didn't get to it. But I did read 3 book box books during the month of March, so I'm still above my goal of reading 12 during the year. Typically, I just want to do that once a month, so I am doing really well with it still. So that's it for this wrap up. I hope you enjoyed what I read during the month of April. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you have a favorite and a least favorite of the month? Let me know. Did you find a new favorite of the year? So I will be back with a bookish video soon. If you like my content, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. As always, keep reading.